So we have escaped the wet, windy United Kingdom, and we have arrived in the wet and windy Lanzarote. Wet and windy it may be, but it is beautiful. And you may be forgiven for thinking that I'm in Iceland, because Lanzarote is a volcanic island. And oh man, it just has a certain ruggedness to it that is right up my street. So I'm gonna have a bit of a walk around, see if we can grab a couple of images. Because technically I'm not supposed to be making a video, in fact doing any photography. I'm on holiday with my beautiful wife. But you know, this year's been it's lacked travel. So I couldn't resist bringing along the 𝐓𝐡𝐞 and seeing if we can grab a couple of shots whilst on holiday. Yeah, see what we can see. So my first image is exactly what I pictured, what I imagined I would be shooting when I came here. So we have this vast open landscape, and the ideas that I have for images are very similar to that of when I was last in the interior of Iceland, you know, very minimalist, very abstract. And that's what I'm going for here. I've framed up my 𝐓𝐡𝐞 with a square composition as per usual. The reason I'm shooting squares is because it simplifies the scene. These vast open landscapes work so well with the square format. And I was worried I wouldn't be able to find any interesting foreground, any contrast, but man, I was mistaken, because this landscape is jet black, but it has all of this beautiful green moss. And that's what I'm framing up here. I've kind of found this beautiful sweeping curvaceous foreground that leads me to these mountains in the mist. They're not even mountains, they're tiny hills. So it's a very minimalist shot, but I love it. So what's so great about this weather is it's so changeable. I was framing up this shot with hardly any visibility, and now we have light coming through, and it opens up the landscape and shows me features that I couldn't see when it was chucking it down with rain 10 minutes ago. So, I mean, the image that I framed, the composition is just changing all of the time. So I get to basically have my pick of the bunch and choose the best shot, but the way that the light is interacting with the mist and cloud and the alien-like nature of the landscape, man, this is just a dream. I couldn't have asked for a better afternoon's photography. And this is the only afternoon of photography I'm having, but wow, it's just so good. It's so nice to have a change of scenery. It really is. And I'm very, very lucky to be able to get away, and I fully appreciate that. But yeah, man, change of scenery, but not a change of weather. So I'm gonna grab this shot now. I'm just zooming in to double check focus. I've got my 35mm prime lens on the Fuji 𝐓𝐡𝐞, 2-second timer, so there's no vibration, 1:1 ratio, and that is my first image from this glorious volcanic landscape that is Lanzarote. So hopefully that image is quite nice. It looks good on the back of the camera, and I'm quite excited because I wasn't really sure what to expect here. But the great thing about this weather is not only does it make this type of landscape sing, but also it keeps the people away. There's no one here. I have literally got this entire landscape to myself, not a single person. So yeah, it's great. And the way that the light is interacting with this mist and rain is just perfect. So I'm going to keep on walking and see if we can pick out a a couple more compositions, or at least one more anyway. That would be nice. Nice to get a couple of images, a couple of portfolio shots from this this area. Yeah, it's awesome. So I'm not like out in the wilderness or anything like that, just to give you an idea of where I am. Essentially there's this trail that takes you to this quite distinctive volcanic crater, and the trail goes up to the crater and then goes around it, and that's all I'm doing. The whole thing's probably like 3 or 4 kilometers, but the amount of variety and the expanse of views that are around you because it's so flat is just fantastic. So, you know, I had no images in mind, no compositions in mind. I just picked a little hiking trail, and I've just come for a walk. And I suppose the thing to mention here is, I mentioned it before, I'm the only person out walking. So if the weather's bad, but you've got your camera, most of the time my advice is to just go anyway, because anything can happen. And it's just a lot of fun, you know, just trying to grab those opportunities, those moments, you know, moments of light, moments of weather, moments of atmosphere. It's great. So there we go. I'm halfway around the crater. Yeah, I've got my first shot, so I'm not like scrambling to get any others. I'm just keeping my eyes peeled. So if you guys saw last week's video, then you'll know how much I love a pristine beach, or any kind of pristine, sandy, gravelly, sedimentary surface. That's what we've got here. I just love it. I just love the purity of an area that has no footprints. And because we have this fantastic trail behind us, you're not allowed to leave this trail. So everywhere around it, in theory, should have no footprints. And I'm walking down the trail, and you are going to have to forgive me. Now, if you think the first shot was minimalist, you ain't seen nothing. Because this, what I'm shooting now, may as well be a blank screen. That's right, we're going super minimal, and I love it. What caught my attention was this ridge line here. See how smooth it is, see how smooth and untouched it is, how pure. Well, that caught my eye. And then I noticed a couple of these, you see these green shrubs dotted around. And it was those that got me thinking, that got the cogs turning. I thought, hey, we might be able to get another super minimal square shot. So that's what we're doing. I've kept the 35mm lens on the camera. It was just perfect. And my tripod is bang on the trail, so I don't need to break any rules and go off trail. I always, you know, advise against that, because a lot of national parks, you know, if they want you to stick to the trail, then you should stick to the trail. Otherwise, they're just going to put ropes up and barriers, and that's no good for anybody. So let me quickly grab this shot. So f9, 35mm lens, 2-second timer, and there we go. Another one in the bag, and we are pushing it with these minimalist shots. So that trail you can see there that goes around that crater is the one that I was just on. And if we look to the left, that is the town where I'm staying. And if we come over here to the top, we can pretty much see the whole of Lanzarote. But I've got a bit of a confession to make. It's a different day. I felt like I really rushed the ending of that video because of the wind and the rain, and it just was miserable and got worse and worse. So I wanted to finish off. I wanted to see if I could get a third image, and it just so happens I have a bit of free time. So I am standing on the top of a hill that yesterday was completely shrouded in all of that rain and not cloud. So it's nice to be up high. It's a decent climb, but the views you can see, 360-degree views, are just epic. And I apologize for the wind, but you know, I think it's always windy here. What can I say? So I reckon I've got about an hour until sunset, and I really have no composition in mind. It's actually quite difficult to gauge because the landscape that I'm looking at is just black and where the sun is beginning to set is very bright. So at the minute it all just looks a bit flat and a bit silhouette-y, which is alright, but I think when the sun drops below the cloud and starts illuminating the landscape, then I think everything could change and compositions may start emerging where currently there aren't any. So now this is really where patience comes in with landscape photography. Just pick your spot, sit and wait and see what happens. I've got my camera out, 55-200mm lens on, which is the long lens, and yeah, it's pretty nice. See what happens. So just for fun, while I wait for the sunset, I put out a quick Instagram story of the view, asking if anybody could guess where I am. Everybody, almost everybody, said Iceland. And I believe earlier on in this video I did say that this place looks just like Iceland. Apart from Lucas B, Travel and Photography on Instagram, he said it looks like the Canary Islands, but he said Fuerteventura instead of Lanzarote. So Lucas, you were very, very close, my friend, but just off by a few miles. Oh, it's looking good though. It's looking like we may get a moment of light. Yeah, this is looking much better now. So the mountains that I'm shooting a pano of, they are, there's now rain coming in from those mountains. I can see it. The sun is just dropping below the last of the clouds. There is a tiny gap. This scene is forever changing. It's incredibly dynamic. I've continued to shoot it time and time again. So I have the progression of light over these mountains. There hasn't been that explosive moment. It's been a very gradual change. And I think now this is going to be my final attempt. So, bear with me. I mean, it's so atmospheric. It's just beautiful. Just try and get all this in as quickly as I can and really hope that the rain doesn't hit me and the light doesn't change too much between the end of this pano. I mean, this is fantastic. The rain is coming. Oh my God, this is gorgeous. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, right, we're going again. This is, oh my God. I didn't think that we would have this. I thought it'd be a fade to nothing. Well, this is incredible. We are about to get wet. Oh, wow. Done. We're done. Wow, the rain It's started to come down now. I'm making my way down. But it's just... I couldn't have asked for anything better. I was up there thinking, you know, this isn't really going to happen. It hasn't really kicked off like I'd hoped. And then that rain started coming in, giving us so much mood and atmosphere. I can only hope that I got the shot. Everything was sharp and in focus. I don't know, you've already seen the image. But yeah, guys, this is me done here for today. So thank you so much for watching, as usual. If you did like the video, if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up in the description below. And I also have calendars and books available in the description below and all that good stuff. And if you're not a subscriber, well, it's well worth subscribing because we're always out in the field doing videos just like this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna go out for a beer and maybe a steak. I don't know, whatever. Right, thank you, thanks so much. Until next time, ciao for now. Woo.